some kind of surveillance on the Israeli search and rescue side.
All right, Zach. Yeah, I think maybe take your own advice as well and get somewhere safe. But we appreciate your bringing us directly to the center of the danger. Excellent reporting. Thank you, and stay safe. We'll check. I'll just let you chime in here because we're seeing things happen before. I'll just let you chime in here because we're seeing things happen before our eyes. You're looking at again fire right there at the top of a building. Actually, Josh, let's start with you here. We just heard from Zach Anders there live on the ground, and again in real time, those alarms going off again. Iran, as potentially damaged as they may be, they are certainly fighting back in real time. Your assessment?
Yeah, the security threats from Iran against the U.S. cannot be overstated. This is a regime whose leadership wakes up every single morning and asks themselves how they can kill more Americans. I served in the Middle East. I carried the body bags of American heroes killed by Iranian-trained insurgencies. I was there when they were shooting down American helicopters using equipment from Iran. And I think even more important, just talking about the Iranian people and this opportunity. This type of historical moment cannot be overstated either. My neighbor is a very proud Iranian American, and he called me. I chatted with him. He's still in contact with people in Iran, family and friends. And when you look at this type of opportunity, he told me, I mean, this is not even hyperbole. He said, this type of moment, now I know how the French must have felt at the start of D-Day during World War II. And just like during D-Day, that was not the end of World War II. This is the beginning of that opportunity for the Iranians to take back their country. And our men and women in uniform are bringing that opportunity for security and peace, as well as making America a safer place. So my prayers go out to the Iranians and our men and women in uniform. Godspeed.
Jacob, I want to ask you this here. Most reporting pointing to the Ayatollah being killed. Even Prime Minister Netanyahu has reported he's seen video of his body. So who's calling the shots now as these missiles are being sent? And what do you make of that response that we're seeing? Is this what you expected after the operation was launched?
It's great to be with you. I think it's straight out of Iran's playbook that we've seen the last two times that they've directly attacked Israel. It's both a sign of desperation, as you alluded at the top of the hour, but also I think, as the reporter mentioned, a reminder that there are tools that they have used that we don't know about or we haven't seen in action. That precaution is well advised, and so I think this time around is a little bit different insofar as the weakened state of the regime is just so desperate, and that, as we know, a caged wild animal, can do unpredictable things. And so I think we're entering a period now of wait and see to sort of how they can escalate in new ways, potentially.
Well, we know happening right now, missiles are being launched towards Tel Aviv, as our Zach Anders showed us, everyone running to safety after one had a direct impact there. Josh, Jacob, we got to leave it there. We appreciate you both coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And news continuing to come in from the Middle East as Iran retaliates to strikes from the U.S. and Israel. The State Department has advised U.S. citizens around the world to exercise increased caution. We're going to bring you the latest updates straight ahead. Stay with Newsmax.
The siege raged for 13 days, but the war was won in less than 18 minutes. Their battle cry, "Remember the Alamo." In 1835, Mexico's president, Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, imposed new laws and taxes inciting insurrection in Mexican Texas. Seeking their independence, organizers turned to the United States for help, but to no avail. Texas declared its independence from Mexico and set up a provisional government, naming David Burnett as its president and Sam Houston as its commander-in-chief. To buy time, Sam Houston sent the legendary Jim Bowie and 30 troops to destroy a former Catholic mission known as the Alamo, located today in the city of San Antonio. Later, William B. Travis followed with an additional 30 troops, accompanied by volunteers including the famous mountain man and former Tennessee Congressman Davy Crockett. The 13-day siege of the Alamo began on February 23, 1836, with an estimated 189 defenders facing 3,000 of Santa Anna's troops. The final day of battle came on March 6th in the form of 3 assaults. The Alamo's commander, William B. Travis, was killed in the first attack, but the defenders were able to repel that assault and the one that followed. By the third attack, the Mexicans' superior numbers overwhelmed the weakened defenders, and once inside, soldiers followed their orders to take no prisoners. Santa Anna spared the lives of some of the non-combatants, the most famous of which was Suzanne Dickinson, insisting she carry a letter to Sam Houston demanding his surrender. 6 weeks later, in a battle that lasted less than 18 minutes, Sam Houston's army tracked down, attacked, and defeated Santa Anna's forces at the Battle of San Jacinto. Santa Anna was captured and signed a peace treaty with the rebels. The Republic of Texas was born. You're watching An American Moment on Newsmax TV.
Power in the hands of government, less in the hands of people. No, it shall not be. The governments are there to serve the liberties of the people, not to restrict them.
And welcome back in. We have some breaking news. Newsmax is now independently confirming the supreme leader of Iran, the Ayatollah, is dead. And that confirms the rest of the reporting coming out of Israel and so many other leaders, including Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, that, yeah, they got him.
Exactly. And I do believe that we have our correspondent, Carla Babb, who is joining us now with further breaking news. Carla, what can you tell us?
Hi, yes, we do have a U.S. military source now confirming to Newsmax that the U.S. agrees with the Israeli intelligence assessment that Iran's supreme leader, Khamenei, was killed in an Israeli strike on a senior meeting in Tehran. Now, multiple officials have said that Israeli strikes today were focused on targeting Iranian leadership. U.S. strikes have targeted Iran's military capabilities. CENTCOM released video from the strikes today. They showed the U.S. Firing Tomahawk missiles. They also showed the USS Abe Lincoln launching F-18s. Those have air-to-air missiles on them, also missiles that can hit ground targets as well. We know that the joint U.S.-Israel operations targeted underground facilities likely used by senior leaders like Khamenei. The Supreme Leader's compound has been reduced to rubble. Unclear if he was there. We now know that it was a meeting in Tehran. Unclear at this time where that meeting was from my sources. Targets that CENTCOM hit today include Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps command and control facilities, Iranian air defense capabilities, missile and drone launch sites, and military airfields. The strikes, I'm told, a mix of precision munitions launched from the air, land, and sea. I mentioned Tomahawks. An Ohio-class submarine is in the region, I've been told, and it can carry 154 Tomahawk missiles on board. CENTCOM also saying today it employed low-cost, one-way attack drones for the first time in combat. CENTCOM says it is now defending against hundreds of Iranian missiles and drone attacks at multiple bases, including those in Saudi Arabia and Qatar. Iran has repeatedly targeted the U.S. naval base in Bahrain, the headquarters for U.S. Navy's Fifth Fleet. One Iranian Shahed drone evaded missile defenses in Bahrain and exploded. CENTCOM says the damage was minimal and did not affect operations. Now, officials tell me that they have taken precautionary measures on the bases, including the one in Bahrain, moving out ships and limiting U.S. forces there to a small staff. The question I keep asking officials is, have there been any American casualties? And as of the last battle damage assessment, they tell me there are no U.S. military casualties in these retaliatory attacks. But this is big news, guys. We are now confirming that U.S. military sources agree with Israelis' intelligence assessment that Khamenei has been killed today.
All right, Carla Babb, thank you so much. Let's check back in with Zach Anders live in Tel Aviv. He is in a bomb shelter speaking with one of the search and rescue experts there on the ground. Zach, take it away.
Yeah, Israel's National Ambulance Service began to David Adom, some of the first responders to any of these impact sites. We're here with Ori. Ori, we were talking and then the alarms were going off again, so we've all now crammed into the shelter. Describe a little bit about what complicates rescue. And tell us first, how many people do we think are injured here as the stairwell lights are given out? How many people are injured and what complicates a rescue scene when you still have incoming attacks?
Yeah, so these scenes are complicated as, for a start, we have very big scenes, wide scenes with many different buildings that were attacked. Even this building we're taking shelter now was still hit with shrapnel, so we understand the radius is very big. We get on scene moments after we hear the boom. We just leave our station and come on scene. We automatically start looking and start treating patients. We start with a 40-year-old male who was seriously injured. And we continue to take more patients out. We had 2 more that were moderately injured, and up to now we had at least 9 that were mildly injured. We're still working now. I don't have the updated numbers because we're here, but we're still working now to look for and continue treating more patients on the scenes as we go forward.
What is motivating all of these first responders to come to impact sites while the attacks still happen?
Saving lives is the only thing that we think about and look towards when we leave our houses or our stations and the safe rooms that we're in. We always say when we tell all the people, all the civilians to go inside the safe room, that's when we leave the safe room and we go out so we can treat and come to these scenes.
You have lived through the 12-day war. We saw each other during the 12-day war. Anything different this time? Does it feel different?
So sadly, I used to say in the past we haven't ever seen scenes this big as we do right here. Sadly, now we've already been here. We've already had these kinds of scenes. We've already treated these kinds of scenes. So we adapted and we're learning now what's going to be even bigger and more problematic.
Okay, thank you guys. We're going to head back out there.
All right, Zach Anders, stay safe. We appreciate it. Thank you. All right, and joining us now is open source intelligence analyst Ryan McBeth. Ryan, thank you so much for joining us here on this afternoon. I do want to go back to what Newsmax has been able to independently confirm, that Khamenei is officially dead, the supreme leader of Iran. Of course, those reports have been coming out for a while, but we wanted to confirm it here to be able to definitively make that assessment. We also know that he was assassinated by Israeli forces, and that was during a meeting in Tehran this morning. But we're also learning that some other top leaders were also likely killed. Estimates of potentially 40 are coming in and being reported. How much of a mortal wound is this to the regime?
So the regime does have succession plans in place. People always talk about Khamenei, but Masoud Pezeshkian is the president of Iran, the technically elected president of Iran. So there is a chain of command in place. It certainly is a psychological win for the coalition that is fighting, or for the U.S. and Israeli coalition. And I can tell you this. This should give anyone in the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps pause to know that if they decide to step up, the United States and Israel could cut them down.
Yeah, Ryan, talk more about that. You'd have to think that the United States and Israel are tracking those potential successors. They know where they are, just like they knew where the supreme leader was. And, should they not, as President Trump said in his speech, he would give them total immunity should you surrender at this point. But if they don't, they'll go after them.
That is most likely the case. I actually wouldn't be that worried about President Trump. I would be worried about the people that they have oppressed for 47 years, because that's how you get the Ceausescu special, or end up like Mussolini hanging upside down outside a gas station. The United States might offer total immunity. The people of Iran might not be so considerate.
And Ryan, next steps for the people of Iran, theoretically, of course, President Trump saying this is your moment to take back your government. How would they even begin to do that? I'm sure this is not the first time they've been thinking about it, or plans must have been laid out in advance. What would that look like?
So an armed uprising is a little difficult. Gun ownership is fairly rare in Iran. Mainly hunters and farmers carry shotguns, or are allowed to possess shotguns. It's very highly restricted. Some of the Arabs in the Southwest may have firearms. They identify more as Arab culture, which prizes the ownership of firearms. And the Kurds in the north may have firearms as well. Really, I think what we're leaning on is the Artesh. Iran really has two militaries: the IRGC, which you could think of as the religious military, and the Artesh, which is the army of the people. Now, you can get drafted into either one, but people who tend to be more religious go into the IRGC. And the Artesh is made up of people, a lot of people who don't want to be there. So what we could see is the Artesh saying, you know what, enough is enough. We are going to take back our country, and they'll do so at the barrel of a gun of an Artesh soldier.
Okay, got to leave it there. Ryan Macbeth, we appreciate you standing by. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. Iran retaliating after that joint U.S.-Iran military attack. We have the latest on that attack coming up after the break here. Stick with us.
The 47th President of the United States of America.
And, you know, I wouldn't say Fox has been exactly perfect. Fox has been a big difference of Fox between now and what it was 4 years ago, as you know. But we have others that come along, and they're doing well, and Newsmax has been really good, and, you know, others are coming along, and people are seeing that they're watching these conservative networks.
President Trump is right. That's why millions of Americans are tuning into Newsmax for the real news they can trust.
If you find the car buying process intimidating, or you're just too busy, consider using a car buying service or a concierge. These services will help you choose a vehicle, negotiate the best price, get trade-in values, review the purchase contract, and arrange to have the vehicle delivered to you once the contract is signed. There are many services, and here are just a few. AutoNation Direct taps into 200 AutoNation outlets across the country. A car buying consultant there will guide you through the process. USAA for military families and veterans offers a service called Auto Circle Program with upfront member prices on new and used cars. Two other great resources are AAA car buying service and AutoFinder.com. Carsquare.com is the easiest, simplest, and fastest way to find new, used, and leased cars and trucks. Carsquare.com takes vehicle listings from other car selling sites and puts them in one place. Car brokers are paid by the dealer, so it's a free service for the car purchaser. The broker will find the vehicle, negotiate a price, and have the car delivered. All these services can be very beneficial for those people who don't like to haggle and just have limited time. I'm Lauren Fix, the car coach for Newsmax TV.
Are you getting everything from Medicare you deserve? You need Medicare for You. It reveals how to maximize benefits while improving your health care. Medicare for You shows you how to reduce costs, improve coverage, get procedures approved, and avoid 4 big mistakes and scams. Make sure Medicare works for you. Get Medicare for You at bookstores or see the free offer. Go online now or call today. Your health is too important to wait.
At 9:47 a.m. on the 20th of February, 1962, Lieutenant Colonel John Glenn Jr. of New Concord, Ohio, found himself sitting on top of an Atlas 6 rocket filled with 600,000 pounds of fuel. At liftoff, 360,000 pounds of thrust hurled the massive rocket and its occupant into space and America's history books. John Glenn became the 4th human being to enter space and the first American to orbit the Earth. For his remarkable heroism, President Kennedy awarded Colonel Glenn NASA's Distinguished Service Medal.
As our knowledge of this universe in which we live increases, may God grant us the wisdom and guidance to use it wisely. Thank you, Colonel.
Glenn went on to become the United States Senator from Ohio, and in 1984 ran for the Democratic presidential nomination, but lost to Walter Mondale.
The Wall Street Journal posting on X about today's operation. Israel hacked a popular Iranian prayer app to send notifications to potentially millions of phones Saturday morning, urging the country's military personnel to defect from the regime and join a fight to liberate the country. So what is the feeling among the Iranian people today? Joining us now to discuss, Muslim scholar Dr. Kanta Ahmed, a senior fellow at the Independent Women's Forum, and Amir Fakhravar, Senate Chairman of the National Iranian Congress. Welcome to both of you. Dr. Ahmed, I'm going to start with you here. We know that many Iranians have been waiting and hoping and praying for this day. What are you hearing now that it has finally come?
they're ecstatic. And that is because they have suffered so tremendously. And that suffering was magnified in recent months to an astonishing, brutal degree, with over 400,000 wounded, over 40,000 murdered, horrendous mutilations. I mean, we could list the atrocities on and on. But this is a defining moment for the United States and for Iran. We have changed the world order. This is a moment for the Iranian people. And I expect them to seize that, not only by defecting from the regular military, but I think you're going to see defections from the IRGC. They have no supreme leader anymore. They have no minister of defense. We're going to see a lot of activity moving to take the country back from the theocrats.
Okay, Amir, what does this rising up look like to you? You know, who steps forward? Does it happen in Tehran? Can you walk us through how you think this should look?
Thank you for having me. The case is, yes, Mr. Supreme Leader is dead in his bunker at the Pastor area in his palace with his family members and with 40 the leaders of the country. That's amazing. And this strike will continue for days. That's amazing too. You know, we are entering the new era when President Trump and the US Army are going to Venezuela to just capture the leader. And then Venezuela will be changed dramatically. And then in Iran, like this, without any casualty from American and Israeli side. This is the new type of war, which everybody, I'm sure all Americans, doesn't matter if they are Democrat or Republican, they will love that, to see the dictators are gone and the American people are not dead. And right now, US should have very heavy role for to make sure the future of Iran will go for the rule of law. We the Iranian people, we need to have a constitution, the same as United States Constitution, to make sure we will not just head to the new dictatorship. And this is the thing I'm asking, begging President Trump. God bless you, President Trump. God bless Benjamin Netanyahu. They have done a great job. US Army, Israeli Army. And now it's the time to just make sure that U.S. government can call Iranian opposition figures to come together for the next step.
All right. We appreciate both of your perspectives. Dr. Kanta Ahmed, Amir Farquhar, thank you.
Okay, more coverage coming up after a quick break here. Stick with us.
I'm Charlotte McBride. I love working at Newsmax because every day we bring you honest reporting with real conversations, no spin. We're not telling you how to think, we're just giving you the facts and letting you decide what's best for you and your family.
This conflict started August 2nd when the dictator of Iraq invaded a small and helpless neighbor. Kuwait, a member of the Arab League and a member of the United Nations, was crushed. Its people brutalized.
In a dispute over Iraqis' inability to repay Kuwait a war debt, on August 2nd, 1990, Saddam Hussein ordered his Iraqi forces to invade neighboring Kuwait, triggering the Gulf War. Afraid Iraqi forces also planned to invade Saudi Arabia, on February 24th, 1991, the United States led a coalition of 34 nations, designated Operation Desert Storm, to repel the invasion and return sovereignty to Kuwait. With U.S. troops making up approximately 70% of the nearly 1 million troops amassed in the region, General Norman Schwarzkopf was named the coalition's commander.
Probably one of the most important parts of the entire briefing I could talk about.
Knowing the importance of having the support of both the Congress and the people, President George H. Bush strived to keep the nation informed.
Just 2 hours ago, Allied air forces began an attack on military targets in Iraq and Kuwait.
Within 100 hours of Allied forces entering Kuwait, Iraqi forces were annihilated, with their remaining troops surrendering in droves. While retreating from Kuwait, Saddam Hussein ordered his forces to destroy over 700 Kuwaiti oil wells, sending billions of barrels of oil up in flames. Operation Desert Storm officially ended on February 28, 1991, approximately 100 hours after the ground war commenced. Still, Saddam Hussein was ensconced in Baghdad, alive and well. His eventual capture and execution would come another day, at the end of another war. You're watching An American Moment on Newsmax TV.
Abraham Lincoln began the war between the states with a single stated purpose: to preserve the Union. So it surprised everyone when in July of 1862, President Lincoln announced his intentions to issue an Emancipation Proclamation to free the Southern slaves. Lincoln was urged to delay his proclamation until the Union Army could boast a battlefield victory. That opportunity came at the Battle of Antietam, when Union forces drove Lee's army out of Maryland. 5 days later, on September 22, 1862, President Lincoln issued the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation, stating slaves in those areas still in rebellion within 100 days will be freed. This action made slavery the focus of the war and ultimately caused France and England to withdraw their support of the South. You're watching An American Moment on Newsmax TV.
All right, welcome back in. President Trump, in case you were wondering and wanted more confirmation, he has posted on Truth Social just moments ago that Khomeini, one of the most evil people in history, is dead. Joining us now, Georgia Republican Congressman and House Armed Services Committee member Rich McCormick. Congressman, pleasure to have you on. Your reaction to the events unfolding in the attack on Iran and the success of taking out the Ayatollah.
I think this is a brilliant move by the president. I'm so happy that we did it because, quite frankly, for those people who are worried about a worse regime taking over, tell me what is worse than a regime that has nuclear aspirations, who's talked about destroying the United States and Israel. Tell me who's worse than a regime that's killed tens of thousands of innocent people just in the last month of their own people. Tell me who's worse than a country that sponsors terror throughout the world and even into the Western Hemisphere. This is a good thing for all of us.
Congressman, this is something that we had been hearing about that was going to happen. We know, of course, that there were a lot of plans in place. We were also hearing that what ultimately helped President Trump make the decision, several sources have been telling us that the United States had some intelligence that Iran was planning a preemptive strike against the U.S. Targets in the area with ballistic missiles. Can you discuss any of that?
Yeah, I don't have any confirmation of that, but I will tell you this. Anytime they had a chance to harm us, they would. This is an evil regime that's proven that they are violent. We've had Americans already die from their weaponry. We've had Georgians that died from their weapons. I thought it was very poetic justice that we had the USS Georgia in the Persian Gulf actually participating in this to get retribution.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Congressman McCormick, always great to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. All
right, and still ahead, the conflict that has unfolded today between Iran and the U.S. has been decades in the making. Of course, we are confirming, President Trump confirming that the Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. We're going to get a closer look at how we got to this point. That's next.
Whether because of discomfort, lack of mobility, your lifestyle, or occupation, you sit inactively way too many hours a day. Introducing Ellipse, the premium quality automatic seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation without physical strain or impact.
It is so quiet that none of my coworkers even know I'm using it.
Strengthen and tone your legs, increase your mobility, flexibility, and balance. Plus, stimulate healthy circulation.
My joints feel better, my knees feel better, my back feels better. It makes me feel stronger too.
Perfect for home therapy. Whisper quiet to use while you work.
My circulation is moving, I'm burning calories, and it makes me feel energetic.
Call now and order Ellipse, the seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation. Call and get upgraded to the Deluxe Bundle. Get the faster motor for 5 miles of steps per hour, the step counter, the sport mat, and wireless remote. Call now.
Are your vitamins actually making you healthier, or are they just a waste of money? You'll find the answers in your all-new 500-page edition of The Vitamin Cure. Get the latest on which vitamins really work and discover how to buy supplements without getting ripped off. The Vitamin Cure sells for $29.99, but right now you can claim your free copy with this special offer from Newsmax Health. Go to the website address on your screen or call toll-free 800-680-5117.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
Not only does it change you on the outside, but something in the inside, knowing that you're looking better.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt in my life.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Well, today we're going to see one for ourselves and let you be the judge. It's called Plexiderm, and lifestyle expert Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and you'll notice the model has bags underneath his eyes and some sagging, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face, and that's how easy it is.
All right, what's the active ingredient?
Okay, so it's silicates that are minerals found in shale rock, and what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes in as little as 10 minutes, no prescriptions, and very little effort. Even watching the video, this is a real, it's a model, but it's a real guy with real bags underneath his eyes.
My real true opinion is holy words I can't say on camera. This is absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I could feel it just lifting my skin. It was amazing. It feels good. Feels great. Looks even better.
And I did this to my father. We were at home, so we applied it to his under eye bags, and let me tell you, we were so excited. In under 10 minutes, they visibly disappeared from view, and now it is literally part of both of our daily routines. He calls me every single month saying, "Hey, Annette, I'm out of Plexiderm, please send me more." And not only does it work on the bags, it works on the appearance of crow's feet, fine lines, and wrinkles. The way you want to do it is you want to have a clean, dry face. You use a small amount because it's so powerful. You have high school reunions, you have events you want to go to, you want to look years younger, this is it.
At our $14.95 price, it's the best way to try Plexiderm and see it work for yourself after your first application. Call the number on your screen.
Call 800-531-2824.
Welcome back in. The attack on Iran that unfolded early this morning as a part of a joint U.S.-Israeli military operation has been decades in the making.
Since the 1979 Islamic Revolution, we've seen hostage crisis, terrorism, and a push for nuclear weapons from that regime. And the U.S. has tried time and time again to negotiate it. But according to President Trump, none of that has worked. We saw that play out today.
That's right. For more on how we got to this point, we're going to bring in national security analyst and senior fellow at the Lexington Institute, Dr. Rebecca Grant. Doc, pleasure to have you on again. Your thoughts, and then also how you see the future looking here in the next couple days.
Wow. With the Ayatollah gone, we have to say this was air power, American and Israeli air power that took him out. And it's a new beginning. Now, that missile campaign against Iran's missile targets needs to continue. It's a precision campaign. But any way you look at it, things have changed. And tomorrow, Iran is going to wake up to a new day.
All right. We're going to have to leave it there. Dr. Rebecca Grant, we appreciate your coming in to wrap up this show. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's all the time Katrina and I have on the breaking news today. But Newsmax is going to continue to cover it with plenty more this evening. Katrina, you will be back later.
Back in with Greg Kelly from 9 to 11. But again, stay with us here at Newsmax. Live coverage continues. Thank you.
Are you getting everything from Medicare you deserve? You need Medicare for You. It reveals how to maximize benefits while improving your health care. Medicare for You shows you how to reduce costs, improve coverage, get procedures approved, and avoid 4 big mistakes and scams. Make sure Medicare works for you. Get Medicare for You at bookstores or see the free offer. Go online now or call today. Your health is too important to wait.
I was exhausted all the time, and I just didn't feel like myself. And then came the weight gain. I found out I was like millions of Americans whose thyroid gland wasn't functioning like it was supposed to. And that's why I started taking Actilin, a premium nutritional supplement. Actilin was created by renowned physician Dr. David Brownstein, formulated with 17 powerful ingredients to specifically support your thyroid function, adrenal health, and metabolism. And now you can get a free bottle of Actilin with our special offer. Just pay a small shipping and handling charge. Plus, receive Dr. Brownstein's free special report, A Doctor's Guide to a Healthy Thyroid. If you're experiencing loss of energy, cold hands and feet, dry skin, weight gain, or joint pain, Actilin may be right for you. Don't wait. Act now. Get your free trial bottle of Actilin, valued at $39.95.
He tells it like it is, with decades covering Washington and the really big stories. Ed Henry cuts through the noise and gives you the facts you need to know. Watch Ed on The Briefing tonight on Newsmax 2.
When Rosa Parks stepped on that Montgomery, Alabama bus on December 1st, 1955, she didn't set out to make history. She just wanted to get home. Montgomery's segregated buses had divided seating, white passengers in front, colored passengers in the back. When the bus driver needed more seats for his white passengers, he ordered her and 3 others to vacate their seats. The others complied and moved, but Rosa quietly refused and was quickly arrested. Working alongside Dr. Martin Luther King, Rosa's arrest sparked a highly effective citywide protest with African Americans boycotting city buses. Rosa's protest and resulting boycott didn't end segregation, but it sparked a movement that ended the racial system, paving the way for a more equal society. You're watching An American Moment.
If you've been in an accident that wasn't your fault, you could be entitled to potentially significant financial compensation. But that potential financial compensation could be a lot more significant when you have a legal professional fighting for you that only gets paid when you win. When you call that number on your screen, you'll find out how much your case could be worth for free and get connected to a professional who can help. And if you don't get paid, the attorneys don't get paid and I don't get paid. So pick up that phone and call the number on your screen now. I said right now. Call now, not later now. I don't hear the phone ringing. Listen, I'd call you, but I don't have your number. I know you're watching. Yes, you. Just pick up the phone and call.
To get a windfall, you first need to call. Call your favorite attorney now. He'd call you, but he doesn't have your number.
800-787-1896. That's 800-787-1896.
Good evening and welcome to our breaking news coverage of what could be an all-out war in the Middle East against Iran. I'm Edie Hill.
And I'm John Glasgow. We got a lot to get to. This has been a historic day so far.
It certainly has. History, really, the entire world could be changing. President Trump making what could be the most consequential decision of his entire presidency overnight while most Americans were asleep.
So he was given the green light here for the massive U.S. military presence into the Middle East to pull the trigger against the Islamic regime in Iran. After 47 years of their brutal reign of power, here is the president photographed monitoring the Middle East situation there at Mar-a-Lago. He has also confirmed the killing of the supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. One of the most evil people in history, is dead. This is not just one for the justice for the people of Iran, but for all great Americans and those people from many countries throughout the world that have been killed or been mutilated by Khamenei and his gang of bloodthirsty thugs. Trump had this message to the world earlier this morning. Watch this.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries.
Responding by launching retaliatory attacks against U.S. bases across the Middle East in Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, Iraq, Jordan, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia. some projectiles breaking through air defense systems and striking targets on the ground.
So President Trump is calling on the Iranian people to use this moment to take back their government from the Ayatollah's rule. Conflicting reports. We just found out that the Ayatollah is dead. That's from President Trump. He said that the strikes were effective in killing the leader there. But we also have heard that a body picture was also sent to the Prime Minister of Israel.
Yeah, I believe that what's been confirmed through a number of sources is that the United States started this mission and decided to go after the infrastructure, go after the weaponry, and the Israelis went after the leadership. So it was an Israeli group, I'm not sure how large, that was there on the ground, boots on the ground were them, and not only took out Khamenei, but also took out perhaps up to 40 of the senior leadership. And I have a couple of reports that indicate, and this is critical at this time in the development of this, that the head of the Revolutionary Guard may have been with Khamenei when he was killed, and that person was also killed. Because that's, when you get a power vacuum like this, that's the problem that you face. Who's taking over, and are they any better?
And we saw the retaliatory strikes against Israel as well. That we will have to learn more about whether or not who is now pulling the trigger with those missile attacks in retaliation. Let's get out to the latest here for the Middle East. Let's go out now to Mike Carter. He's standing by. He's live from Palm Beach with the latest here as President Trump. What is he thinking right now at this hour, Mike?
Yeah, guys, good afternoon. President Trump just moments ago, like you mentioned, the breaking news at this hour, President Trump on Truth Social saying Khamenei, one of the most evil people, is dead. Of course, the Ayatollah, the supreme leader of Iran, believed for several hours now to have met his downfall in those attacks overnight between the U.S. and Israel, now confirmed dead by Israel and the President of the United States. Of course, President Trump, he's been on the phone all day today with Middle East regional partners. He just mentioned a few of them: Qatar, Turkey, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia, as well as the UK, and also President Trump speaking today by phone with NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte. President excited, or at least happy, about no U.S. casualties as of yet, no combat casualties, and the president calling out the overnight operation a great success. Now, in a phone call interview with NBC News this afternoon, President said a large amount of leadership has been killed in today's strikes. We, of course, know that the Ayatollah now is, of course, one of those. President Trump asked about who will replace Iran's supreme leader today. President Trump saying, I don't know, but at some point they'll be calling me to ask who I'd like, before Trump later saying, I'm only being a little sarcastic when I say that. Well, of course, lost in why President Trump decided to partner with Israel on these strikes overnight. Yes, the president has been talking for some time now about the number of protesters killed by the Iranian regime, tens of thousands, 32,000 according to President Trump. Yes, the president and the Trump administration has talked for some time now about Iran's unwillingness to say they will not build a nuclear bomb. But also, keep this in mind, guys, U.S. officials have also now followed up on and confirmed multiple assassination attempts on President Trump over the last several years. These have been confirmed in federal court. These alleged plots, widely believed to be in retaliation for a U.S. drone strike in 2020 ordered by President Trump in Baghdad against Qasem Soleimani, the commander of the IRGC's Quds Force. Now, Iran's foreign ministry has denied such charges, calling them a, quote, malicious conspiracy. And one of those individuals, though, that is believed to have ties with Iran, he's now in district court in Brooklyn, just as of last week. A SEAL merchant. He's a Pakistani national believed to have ties to Iranian intelligence. Now, he was arrested back in July 12th of 2024, just one day before President Trump was shot in Butler, Pennsylvania. Now, there's no evidence that there's any ties between the man who shot President Trump in Butler and this individual, but this individual is in district court in Brooklyn right now. He faces life in prison if he is convicted on terrorism and murder for hire charges. Well, of course, we know that the supreme leader of Iran is now dead. This is the man who has been in charge of Iran since 1989. He is the longest leader in the Middle East, or at least was the longest lasting leader in the Middle East. He saw 6 U.S. presidents come and go, but never could have imagined his 6th president, Donald Trump, would return to office to oversee his demise. I'll leave you with this, guys. Last night, President Trump shortly before ordering those strikes at Mar-a-Lago, the president was seen dancing to God Bless the USA. Of course, that's President Trump's anthem. Anytime you go to a rally, you'll hear that song before the president told partygoers at this fundraiser, quote, "I gotta go to work." Of course, we know the president then ordered those strikes, called Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel, and then shortly thereafter forever changed the political landscape of the Middle East, killing a leader of Iran who is responsible for countless of U.S. soldiers' deaths over the last 4 decades. Guys?
All right, thank you very much. Our White House correspondent, Mike Carter.
Thanks, Mike. Joining us now with more analysis here is Alex Gray, former National Security Council Chief of Staff, or former Deputy Assistant to the President, along with General Blaine Holt, Brigadier General of the Air Force and Newsmax contributor. Great to have you both here on such a historic day. Blaine, I'll start with you. What are your thoughts on what's playing out here? Now we have confirmed that the Ayatollah is dead.
Well, you know, the president has this incredible way of helping to guide the leadership towards objectives and then letting the military do what they do best, which is plan and execute the mission. And from the B-2 strikes in June to what happened in Venezuela, same thing played out here. We had an incredibly perfect air campaign orchestrated. At night, we blinded them, we knocked out the communications, cleared the path. And then there was some great innovation in the sky. I can't talk about what exactly that was, but let's just say drone warfare has taken a new page. And then we get to the place we're in now where we're finding out the top 40 are gone, and we're giving the Iranian people the greatest promise at freedom that they could possibly have. Rough stuff ahead. We've got for the Iranian people, they're in for some days of chaos and some great pain as we get the transition. And then here at home and in Europe, we have to be on guard, like the State Department and the FBI are saying, for potential cells from the IRGC, also linked up with the cartels that could get activated against us.
Alex, well, we certainly hope that with the number of senior leadership taken out in the strike that killed Khamenei, that you know, the folks who were most senior in the Revolutionary Guard were also taken out. But you know, as I was talking about earlier, now you've got the people, but they don't really know what to do. It's been a long time that they have been under the thumb of a very brutal regime. How do they take control so that the Revolutionary Guard doesn't swoop in there basically and just start killing them like they have in the past month and a half?
Well, it's the question of the hour, and I think that the Venezuela model is really where I think the United States is going to be headed most likely, which is the Iranian leaders who remain. We have to appeal to them based on the human desire to keep their power, keep their position in Iranian society, and there's a path for them, like there was for Delcy Rodriguez and her brother in Venezuela, where they can step up, distance themselves from the theocracy, from the Ayatollahs, and you can hopefully find someone from the IRGC, from the conventional military in Iran, who sees their interest of survival, perpetuation of power aligned with a new Iran that supports the U.S. objectives here.
Can I just jump there and ask you, can you think of someone off the top of your head? I mean, Ali Larijani, is he someone who has become moderate enough that he would be acceptable? He's the head of the National Security Council.
I would be skeptical that it's Larijani. I think he is a radical through and through, and has been a participant in some very significant actions against the United States and our allies for a long time. I think there's going to have to be someone deeper into the apparatus I mean, let's be very clear about what most of the IRGC and most of the conventional military at a senior level in Iran are. They're gangsters, and they've spent the last 40 years profiting personally and through their families, turning the IRGC and other elements of the state not just into tools of oppression, but into commercial enterprises. It's very similar to what's going on in Venezuela, where the Maduro regime morphed from this socialist effort into a way to make money for those around Chavez and Maduro. And so we have a tremendous amount of leverage right now to find people within the regime who want to see themselves perpetuated here if they choose to distance themselves from the Ayatollah's ideology.
General Holt, I want to go back to you on this because President Trump said that this could take weeks of more artillery. Do you expect what is going to happen in the next few days? How does the U.S. now, you mentioned there's some chaos. Does the U.S. now continue to strike, or how does this play out in the next few days?
So we have intel assets on the ground. We're going to try, we understand what the organization is going to look like now of the revolutionaries that are on the ground. I don't see them being IRGC, maybe some people who had pledged their loyalties to the population earlier, but I think there's going to be a tremendous hateful backlash. A lot of people don't really understand the demographics of Iran. It's not an Islamic state. That's a minority. It's Zoroastrian, Christian, Buddhist, and they're mad, and they're going to rise. But what they need now is weaponry, and we're going to be working with them in a clandestine way to get to locations where they can get that weaponry. And the IRGC, whether they're here in the United States, Europe, some other location, or in Iran itself, they really should listen to President Trump about his offer of immunity and then try to get them to come to what is going to be the new ruling body. We should not hijack a revolution. We should aid it. And what we should not do is pick a leader. We should help them come into the world community on their own as free people.
Yeah, hopefully we have learned that lesson from the past.
Yeah, no kidding. We appreciate all of your expertise, your insight to all this. I know this was something to wake up here this morning, and we knew President Trump was going to act. He's a man of his word.
I was up all night long, like almost every hour checking, because it just felt like something was happening.
Yes,
Alex Gray, General Blaine Holt, great to have you back with us.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, don't go anywhere. Coming up, we go live to our correspondent, Zach Anders. He is in Tel Aviv when he is not racing to a shelter underground, because that country is on a high alert. There have been a wave of Iranian ballistic missiles throughout the day and night, and he's there in the thick of it. That's coming up.
The siege raged for 13 days, but the war was won in less than 18 minutes. Their battle cry, "Remember the Alamo." In 1835, Mexico's president, Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, imposed new laws and taxes inciting insurrection in Mexican Texas. Seeking their independence, organizers turned to the United States for help, but to no avail. Texas declared its independence from Mexico and set up a provisional government, naming David Burnett as its president and Sam Houston as its commander-in-chief. To buy time, Sam Houston sent the legendary Jim Bowie and 30 troops to destroy a former Catholic mission known as the Alamo, located today in the city of San Antonio. Later, William B. Travis followed with an additional 30 troops, accompanied by volunteers including the famous mountain man and former Tennessee Congressman Davy Crockett. The 13-day siege of the Alamo began on February 23, 1836, with an estimated 189 defenders facing 3,000 of Santa Anna's troops. The final day of battle came on March 6th in the form of 3 assaults. The Alamo's commander, William B. Travis, was killed in the first attack, but the defenders were able to repel that assault and the one that followed. By the third attack, the Mexican superior numbers overwhelmed the weakened defenders, and once inside, soldiers followed their orders to take no prisoners. Santa Anna spared the lives of some of the non-combatants, the most famous of which was Suzanne Dickinson, insisting she carry a letter to Sam Houston demanding his surrender. 6 weeks later, in a battle that lasted less than 18 minutes, Sam Houston's army tracked down, attacked, and defeated Santa Anna's forces at the Battle of San Jacinto. Santa Anna was captured and signed a peace treaty with the rebels. The Republic of Texas was born. You're watching An American Moment on Newsmax TV.
The government, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more. Then one day, you've got so many people employed by government that they have a vested interest in keeping more and more power in the hands of government and less in the hands of people. No, it shall not be. The governments are there to serve the liberties of the people, not to restrict them.
All right, welcome back to our special coverage of the U.S. and Israel strikes on Iran.
I'm Edie Hill, and we have been watching this and wondering how is the world going to look after this activity is done, because it is changing rapidly.
Absolutely. Let's get out to our Middle East correspondent, Zach Anders. He is live in Tel Aviv with the latest. You were seeing some return fire on Israel earlier today. Is that still happening, Zach?
Yeah, we've just returned from an impact site within the last hour. There has been a direct hit. We're hearing serious damage and potential loss of life, at least one seriously, gravely wounded. I will say that we did see people being pulled out on stretchers in horrible state here. I do believe that casualty count is going to rise based on what we saw on scene and when you were with us in the last hour of coverage. We don't have an official readout, but I am seeing in some of these images from the strike. This was a direct hit. I mean, we carried it live. It was not intercepted, this ballistic missile from Iran that impacted into a residential apartment here in downtown Tel Aviv. We have at least 12 casualties from this scene, varying in severity. And we are fearful that this number may rise based on what we are hearing from first responders on the scene. Perhaps some very the least shocking news as the words start to escape me here as we've been going for hours and hours. I just got a text from the Rubio team telling me that trip that Marco Rubio, the Secretary of State, was set to make to Israel on Monday has been canceled. I texted back, said, well, that's really shocking news. And they said, I know, right? So the Secretary of State is not going to be here. And really nobody else is going to be coming here because the airspace is totally closed and the airports are closed. Guys.
Continue. Yeah.
Thank you very much. You're there watching all of this mayhem around you, and you mentioned watching the people who have been, caught up in an attack. Yeah. And we're a family here, and I just wanted to extend to you, I'm sorry for your loss today. And I know that it's got to be difficult for you to be doing your job, but you're doing a great one. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks.
The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces. We are going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans.
President Trump there vowing to protect American troops from Iran's regime proxies as the U.S. and Israel carry out joint massive attacks here in the Middle Eastern country. Trump's message comes as Tehran unleashed waves of attacks on American military bases throughout the region.
Joining us now to discuss the latest developments are retired U.S. Air Force Brigadier General John Teichert, along with Brian Lieb, former Executive Director, Iranian Americans for Liberty. He's also the CEO, Henry Public Relations. John, let me start with you. We'd like to get your response to what the president was saying about our troops. But first, Bahrain officials were saying that the service center of the U.S. Fifth Fleet had been subjected to a missile attack in Bahrain. We don't know how extensive the damage is, but your reaction.
Well, I think it's important to realize, first of all, that there's about 50,000 American military members that are in this region. Baseline 40,000, and then the addition of about an additional 10,000. And one of the priorities of the U.S. Central Command commander is force protection. That means evacuating non-essential personnel like has happened in the last week. That means missile defense and air defense and drone defense. And it also means taking the fight to the ballistic missiles that are within Iran that are likely their most potent way to project power. And you don't take out individual missiles because there's about 1,000 of them, but you strike the low density launchers, you strike warehouses, you strike production facilities, you decapitate the regime both politically and militarily so they can't coordinate fires. And I think thus far, though we have seen a decent amount of rockets and missiles, we haven't seen the coordinated large-scale type of attack that we had seen in the past, which indicates to me that some of those command and control and leadership targets that we focused on in the first wave of the strikes have successfully decapitated the regime such that they are fighting deaf, dumb, and blind.
Very good point. Brian, I'll go to you on this. How do we protect the U.S. Military that's over there? I mean, we know that Iran is going to try to have retaliatory attacks. We saw that play out in Israel. But how important is it now to protect our troops over there while this all still plays out in the next week or so?
Well, John, I think that's why President Trump had the forevision to deploy so many of our resources to the region for a situation just like this. to protect against any kind of counterattack against our bases, our troops, and of course probably our allies as well. This is just such a remarkable day. It's a new day for the Iranian people. It's a new day for the Middle East. It's a new day for the entire world, and it's all because we have a commander-in-chief, guys, that drew red lines, put up a goalpost, didn't cross the red line, and didn't move the goalposts as Obama and Biden did for 8 years and 4 years with this administration in Iran. So thank God for President Trump, and thank God for his partnership with Prime Minister Netanyahu. It's a new day in the world, and we have a lot to be very, very thankful for, I think.
Yep, we've also got a lot of work still to do because no one wants to come back to this, have to revisit it again. But the president, I'm guessing the signal sent to now Yemen and a number of other belligerents is don't mess with him.
Yeah.
He says, this is what I'll do. You want to negotiate? Great. If not, bad on you. So we'll see. John Teichert, Brian Lieb, I should say. Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
We got more coverage here of this historic day, this Operation Epic Fury. It is continuing as well. So we're going to follow the latest. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
The 47th President of the United States of America.
And, I wouldn't say Fox has been exactly perfect. Fox has been a big difference of Fox between now and what it was 4 years ago, as you know. But we have others that come along, and they're doing well, and Newsmax has been really good, and, others are coming along. And people are seeing that they're watching these conservative networks.
President Trump is right. That's why millions of Americans are tuning into Newsmax for the real news they can trust.
If you find the car buying process intimidating or you're just too busy, consider using a car buying service or a concierge. These services will help you choose a vehicle, negotiate the best price, get trade-in values, review the purchase contract, and arrange to have the vehicle delivered to you once the contract is signed. There are many services, and here are just a few. AutoNation Direct taps into 200 AutoNation outlets across the country. A car buying consultant there will guide you through the process. USAA for military families and veterans offers a service called Auto Circle Program with upfront member prices on new and used cars. Two other great resources are AAA car buying service and AutoFinder.com. Carsquare.com is the easiest, simplest, and fastest way to find new, used, and leased cars and trucks. Carsquare.com takes vehicle listings from other car selling sites and puts them in one place. Car brokers are paid by the dealer, so it's a free service for the car purchaser. The broker will find the vehicle, negotiate a price, and have the car delivered. All these services can be very beneficial for those people who don't like to haggle and just have limited time. I'm Lauren Fix, the car coach for Newsmax TV.
Are you getting everything from Medicare you deserve? You need Medicare for You. It reveals how to maximize benefits while improving your health care. Medicare for You shows you how to reduce costs, improve coverage, get procedures approved, and avoid 4 big mistakes and scams. Make sure Medicare works for you. Get Medicare for You at bookstores or see the free offer. Go online now or call today. Your health is too important to wait.
At 9:47 a.m. on the 20th of February, 1962, Lieutenant Colonel John Glenn Jr. of New Concord, Ohio, found himself sitting on top of an Atlas 6 rocket filled with 600,000 pounds of fuel. At liftoff, 360,000 pounds of thrust hurled the massive rocket and its occupant into space and America's history books. John Glenn became the 4th human being to enter space and the first American to orbit the Earth. For his remarkable heroism, President Kennedy awarded Colonel Glenn NASA's Distinguished Service Medal.
As our knowledge of this universe in which we live increases, may God grant us the wisdom and guidance to use it wisely. Thank you, Colonel.
Glenn went on to become the United States Senator from Ohio, and in 1984 ran for the Democratic presidential nomination, but lost to Walter Mondale.
Welcome back. The face of the world is changing today. We have special coverage of Operation Epic Fury following the United States and Israel's major attack against Iran. Foreign Minister of Iran says all bases, facilities, assets of the U.S. and Israel in the region will be regarded as legitimate military targets. He told UN officials that Iran will continue to defend itself following the joint attack and said that Iran will use necessary defensive capabilities and facilities to confront what they call criminal aggression and deter hostile actions.
Joining us now for more is former Undersecretary of Defense and former Secretary of Veteran Affairs, Robert Wilkie. Great to have you.
Good to see you.
You and I had this conversation in D.C. I said, is Trump going to strike? And you said, absolutely, and it's going to be from the air. The ships were a bit of a distraction. It was the planes that were going to take out the targets. So your thoughts on all this?
It's good to see you both. And I want to go to something that Edie has mentioned now twice in the last two segments, and that is to change the globe, change the face of the global balance of power. This is as seismic an event as the collapse of the Soviet Union, in that Iran really is the central node for an axis that runs from Beijing through Tehran into Moscow. 2 nights ago, Kiev was attacked, 300, 400 drones, but 290 of those drones, according to the British, came right from Iran. The Chinese have been offloading ballistic missile parts at a feverish rate in Iran. Those were being put together by the Iranians, some of them shipped to Russia for use against Ukraine. The president eliminates this cancer, and Edie is right. She's called it evil in the past month. Then you see the downstream effects on the Russians and the Chinese, and I do think it's a very important new day for all of us.
And not just that, but as you mentioned, who they support, who they funnel that the weaponry to and help out. That's equally important, not only to us, to Israel, but to our Middle East allies, because there's no love lost between Yemen, who Iran supports, and Saudi Arabia, say, for example. But you think of it, Yemen, Hezbollah, Hamas, you go down the list, and we've been doing what we can. But when Iran was there pumping parts to them and doing everything they could, and Russia's right behind there, it's very hard to stop it. This is the moment, though.
It is. And I always quote in my speeches something that Golda Meir said about that region, but it applies to all of the enemies of the United States. When someone tells you over and over again he wants to kill you, believe him.
Yes.
And that applies to the Iranians. I mean, I was a little boy at Fort Bragg. We lived right around the corner from the colonel who commanded the failed hostage rescue operation in the deserts of Iran. One of our neighbors was a hostage. We've been at war with these people since 1979. They've killed thousands of our own people. They've spread terror. I mean, you've been talking about the connection to Venezuela. I think when the after-action report is finally declassified, you'll find that agents of the Iranian government, including Hezbollah operatives, were killed. They've spread their drug networks in conjunction with cartels and the Chinese in our hemisphere. And they've made no bones about the fact that the late lamented Ayatollah often said that Israel was a one-bomb solution. And that's what they were working toward.
And the thing, too, is, I mean, he gave them multiple opportunities to make a deal.
Yeah, you did a great job explaining the historical context of this moment. It has been going on for decades, which shocks me that we now have Democratic leadership in Washington claiming that President Trump didn't attempt diplomacy long enough, didn't give it a chance to work. It's been going on forever, for their entire lifetime almost. So, we'll see where it goes now. There's a new sheriff in town.
And now you have Democrats that are trying to undermine the commander-in-chief as well.
Yeah. Robert Wilkie, thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you, Secretary.
Good to see you both.
Thank you. Good to see you, too. You great point that you brought up there. This has been going on for decades, and now it's time that this is a new regime. We're starting over. And President Trump, it's been talked about for so long, but it took President Trump to actually do something about it, and he did, and he forced his hand, and he actually he made good on it.
They love talking about it in Washington, but they don't do a whole lot about it to stop it. So in Washington, as I mentioned, there are calls from Congress to immediately convene. Meanwhile, the UN is already in an Emergency Security Council meeting right now where the U.S. is going to be pitted against Russia and China, who are demanding the attack stop. Our live coverage continues.
Hi, I'm Charlotte McBride. I love working at Newsmax because every day we bring you honest reporting with real conversations, no spin. We're not telling you how to think, we're just giving you the facts and letting you decide what's best for you and your family.
This conflict started August 2nd when the dictator of Iraq invaded a small and helpless neighbor. Kuwait, a member of the Arab League and a member of the United Nations, was crushed. Its people brutalized.
In a dispute over Iraqis' inability to repay Kuwait a war debt, on August 2nd, 1990, Saddam Hussein ordered his Iraqi forces to invade neighboring Kuwait, triggering the Gulf War. Afraid, Iraqi forces also planned to invade Saudi Arabia. On February 24, 1991, the United States led a coalition of 34 nations, designated Operation Desert Storm, to repel the invasion and return sovereignty to Kuwait. With U.S. troops making up approximately 70% of the nearly 1 million troops amassed in the region, General Norman Schwarzkopf was named the coalition's commander.
Probably one of the most important parts of the entire briefing I could talk about.
Knowing the importance of having the support of both the Congress and the people, President George H. Bush strived to keep the nation informed.
Just 2 hours ago, Allied air forces began an attack on military targets in Iraq and Kuwait.
Within 100 hours of Allied forces entering Kuwait, Iraqi forces were annihilated, with their remaining troops surrendering in droves. While retreating from Kuwait, Saddam Hussein ordered his forces to destroy over 700 Kuwaiti oil wells, sending billions of barrels of oil up in flames. Operation Desert Storm officially ended on February 28, 1991, approximately 100 hours after the ground war commenced. Still, Saddam Hussein was ensconced in Baghdad, alive and well. His eventual capture and execution would come another day, at the end of another war. You're watching An American Moment on Newsmax TV.
Abraham Lincoln began the war between the states with a single stated purpose: to preserve the Union. So it surprised everyone when in July of 1862, President Lincoln announced his intentions to issue an Emancipation Proclamation to free the Southern slaves. Lincoln was urged to delay his proclamation until the Union Army could boast a battlefield victory. That opportunity came at the Battle of Antietam, when Union forces drove Lee's army out of Maryland. 5 days later, on September 22, 1862, President Lincoln issued the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation, stating slaves in those areas still in rebellion within 100 days will be freed. This action made slavery the focus of the war and ultimately caused France and England to withdraw their support of the South. You're watching An American Moment on Newsmax TV.
Welcome back to our special coverage of major combat operations in Iran. Lawmakers in Washington reacting to President Trump's move to strike Iran. Let's listen. Pennsylvania Democratic Senator John Fetterman posting, President Trump has been willing to do what's right and necessary to produce real peace in the region. God bless the United States, our great military, and Israel. But he's one of the few.
That's right. He's one of the few Democrats supporting the president. California Congressman Ro Khanna was demanding Congress support a resolution on Monday to stop the president from taking any military action. But Trump launched the strikes and thwarted Khanna. Watch.
Donald Trump has launched a war on Iran. The Congress must reconvene on Monday to vote on Thomas Massie and my war powers resolution to stop this war. Trump says his goal is to topple the Iranian regime. But the American people are tired of regime change wars that cost us billions of dollars and risk our lives. We don't want to be at war with a country of 90 million people in the Middle East. Every member of Congress must go on record today on how they will vote on Thomas Massie and my War Powers Resolution.
Unless that country of 90 million can wipe out your country with a few well-placed nuclear weapons.
Exactly. Democrats always trying to halt President Trump in any way that they can. Let's bring in Wisconsin Congressman and retired Navy SEAL Derek Van Orden. Great to have you here. Congressman, what's your reaction there to Ro Khanna? I mean, trying to stop President Trump from carrying out something that many presidents had an opportunity to do, but didn't.
President Donald Trump has showed incredible bold leadership here, and he is acting completely within his constitutionally enumerated powers and within the legislation passed by Congress. So I fundamentally disagree with Mr. Ro Khanna and with Thomas Massie. I think they're barking up the wrong tree here. So the President of the United States is obligated by the War Powers Resolution in 1973 to report to Congress within 48 hours of any military operations. He did that. He is not required to have authorization from Congress until operations have been taking place for 60 years, which multiple presidents have ignored to begin with. If there's boots on the ground in Iran, then he have an additional 30 days to get them out without authorization from Congress. Let me be crystal clear. I 100% support President Donald J. Trump's decision to end the criminal Iranian regime's ability to negatively project power throughout the Middle East and Europe.
Yeah. Early this morning, while announcing the strikes, the president spoke about the risk to our armed forces. Let's listen.
My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk to U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran.
And we know that we have a number of military families that watch Newsmax. And, you know, there have been operations in the past, be quite frank about it, operations in the past that just seemed stupid, that we didn't really gain anything in terms of security after it. Is this the type of operation that really can change the trajectory of peace around the world?
Yes, it absolutely is. And I want to speak directly to the moms and dads and kids of the active duty service members that are conducting these operations. I spent almost 30 years as a Navy SEAL, in the military, over 21 as a Navy SEAL, and I've been to combat multiple times. And I want you to know that your moms and dads that are doing these operations have they have absolutely everything they need to conduct these in the safest manner possible to come back home to you. And that's President Donald J. Trump is going to make sure that our service members have everything they need to conduct these operations to help promote peace into the future so they can get back to you. Let me be clear about something else. Iran bombed the Marine barracks in 1983. They did the Khobar Towers in Saudi Arabia. They're responsible for between 17 and 20% of all of the casualties sustained in Iraq. That's thousands and thousands of American servicemen and women that the Iranian regime is responsible for killing. And we want that to stop. They sponsored Hezbollah. They sponsored the Houthi rebels that closed international shipping for an extended period of time, costing the entire world hundreds of billions of dollars. It's time for this to end.
Well, we hope that is what is happening right now. Congressman Derek Van Orden, thank you for your time.
You're welcome, ma'am. God bless you.
We appreciate it. Our coverage here of this Operation Epic Fury continues with how the world is reacting to the attack on Iran. Don't go anywhere. We have another expert panel after the break.
Whether because of discomfort, lack of mobility, your lifestyle, or occupation, you sit inactively way too many hours a day. Introducing Ellipse, the premium quality automatic seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation without physical strain or impact.
It is so quiet that none of my coworkers even know I'm using it.
Strengthen and tone your legs, increase your mobility, flexibility, and balance. Plus, stimulate healthy circulation.
My joints feel
better, my knees feel better, my back feels better. It makes me feel stronger too.
Perfect for home therapy. Whisper Quiet to use while you work.
My circulation is moving, I'm burning calories, and it makes me feel energetic.
Call now and order Ellipse, the seated exerciser that strengthens legs, increases mobility, and boosts circulation. Call and get upgraded to the Deluxe Bundle. Get the faster motor for 5 miles of steps per hour, the step counter, the sport mat, and wireless remote. Call now.
Are your vitamins actually making you healthier, or are they just a waste of money? You'll find the answers in your all-new 500-page edition of The Vitamin Cure. Get the latest on which vitamins really work and discover how to buy supplements without getting ripped off. The Vitamin Cure sells for $29.99, but right now you can claim your free copy with this special offer from Newsmax Health. Go to the website address on your screen or call toll-free 800-680-5117.
This right here is confidence in a bottle.
Not only does it change you on the outside, but something in the inside, knowing that you're looking better.
It makes me feel so much more confident than I've ever felt in my life.
They are some of the hottest videos on social media. Those videos claiming to instantly get rid of bags under your eyes. Well, today we're going to see one for ourselves and let you be the judge. It's called Plexiderm, and lifestyle expert Annette Figueroa is here to tell us why she says this one is for real.
This one is for real, and I'm so excited. We even have a video, and you'll notice the model has bags underneath his eyes and some sagging, and all he uses is a small amount on a clean, dry face, and that's how easy it is.
All right, what's the active ingredient?
Okay, so it's silicates that are minerals found in shale rock, and what it does is it tightens and lifts the appearance of bags underneath your eyes, and as